Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic, but often a very neglected topic in cycling. There is a lot of ways we can improve our performance on the bike. You could go into a training plan. You could pick up a training plan. You could use an aero bike. There's a lot of methods to improve your performance. But more often than not, something that is often very neglected is the importance of nutrition and how nutrition plays a very key role in your cycling performance. So we have Solvin here today, and Solvin is going to help us understand a little bit about nutrition and its importance and how that's going to help us in better cycling, right? So why do you think people often neglect nutrition as a factor that is quite important in cycling?
Hi, Jose. I think people are very ignorant about the importance of nutrition. Often I give what an example I would give to a common person is like you can't expect a car to move forward without filling gas in it. Right. It's almost similar to that. It's almost similar like expecting your body to move without fueling it properly. Right. But our bodies are much more efficient and more intelligent than a normal car. So it would move, of course it would move even if you don't give the right nutrition, it would move, but it would be much less efficient. So what we are trying to do is make our bodies to the maximum efficiency possible.
Right. I mean, myself, I'm quite guilty of this as well. So, and most of the cyclists, probably most of the rookies who are into cycling, we are all guilty of this. What we care about a lot more is how fast can we go, or how many miles can we put on the bike. So that is what we mainly focus on. But training and nutrition is something that is often very neglected. So let's probably talk through some of those very important points which could help our viewers in the next few minutes. Yeah. So Solvin, before we actually start delving into this topic, can you give us the basics of nutrition?
The basics of nutrition can be divided into two parts: hydration and food. That's the basic things you need to survive. Even if it's not about cycling or just for living, you need food and hydration. That's the basic thing. So when it comes to cycling and high level of cycling like pro cycling or endurance, ultra endurance events, the importance of nutrition and the right nutrition gets even higher, or else you get less efficient.
I know nutrition plans would vary for each athletes. So my nutrition plan bases my physique and my efforts and my type of ride would totally different from your type of rides. Yeah. Right? So I know this is what we're going to discuss here is going to be quite a generic information, I guess.
Yes,
and this would depend on person to person. The actual nutrition plan would depend person to person. So I usually do endurance rides, and before I start my ride, my pre-ride meal is usually, my favorite is oatmeal. All right, so if it is before a specific event like a brevet or a very long ride, I might even do like an overnight oats. So these are what I usually take before my rides. What's your take on pre-ride meals?
Yeah, what you do right now, what you do is almost the perfect choice. I choose oats because it's very slowly digesting food. The energy you get from oats, it would last much longer than any other food, almost any other food. It contains a lot of fiber, so it digests very slow. So even towards the end of your maybe like 5-hour ride or 6-hour ride, you would still keep on getting energy from the oatmeal.
Right. Okay. So, just for ease of everyone's understanding, shall we go by the type of ride? So, for example, a casual rider who goes for a casual ride every day, like a 1 hour ride, what would you suggest the nutrition pre-ride, during the ride, and then the post-ride should be like?
Generally, for a ride less than 90 minutes, you don't need any food because your bodies would have enough of energy required for a 90-minute ride. The only exception is that when you do efforts within this 90 minutes. If you're doing a hard ride, if a hard ride of 90 minutes, that means you need more energy. So during those rides, you can have oats, but not too much. If you have too much, your digestive systems would be it would crash maybe.
Right.
So
That's one of the doubts that I had in my mind. What happens if you overeat, and what happens if you don't eat enough at all?
yeah, what happens when you eat some food is a lot of your blood supply goes into or around your digestive system. So that's the problem that comes with that is that you get less blood flow to your legs where you need it when you ride. So that's what happens. So when you overeat, the more blood, your digestive system needs more blood and more energy to digest the food. So if you eat more, a lot of your blood goes to your stomach area, and you get less blood in your legs, and so it adversely affects your riding.
Absolutely. I mean, that makes total sense. So that's not something that we want to see. So we need to have the ideal consumption. So it makes sense on the casual ride. So anything that's below 90 minutes, which are not heavy intervals or heavy rides, I guess it makes sense. It's okay to have nothing, but then I'm assuming hydration would still remain a very important factor during this ride, right? So how about anything that's above 90 minutes?
So anything above 90 minutes, of course, you need some food. And what I usually tell everyone is eating food, pre-ride foods. It should be a habit. So if it's not a habit, it's not going to work out during an event or any particular important ride. It's not going to work out. So it should be a habit to have food before a ride. I mean, especially a ride that's over 90 minutes. So again, like you said, an oatmeal would be very good, and also it depends individually because everyone wouldn't love oats maybe.
What do you suggest as other alternatives? Because I think it's personal preference for everyone.
Yeah.
Right. So someone who doesn't prefer oats, what kinds of food do you prefer? Would you suggest pre-ride?
It's actually like you said, it's an individual preference, and it would. We can fine tune this only based on a trial and error method.
Okay.
So it's best that everyone try their own methods and try whatever food is working the best for them, and find out a food that's practical too. You might not have a lot of time to prepare food.
Right.
So it should be a practical method, and it should be easy.
Right. So your take is anything that has got a lot of carbs and a little bit of fat.
Yeah.
Would be the ideal choice for a pre-ride meal for a ride that is above 90 minutes.
Yes, yeah? Of course, yeah.
I've heard people actually having peanut butter sandwich before rides. For me personally, I've not been a big fan of peanut butter, so that's why I stick with oats. But I guess it's something that everyone, like Solvin said, everyone needs to experiment and find out what is your
find out what works best for themselves.
Okay. Okay. All right. What about pre-ride meals for endurance events? So anything, let's say 4, 5, 6 hours or beyond that.
Yeah. Even then, the same thing would work, but in a slightly larger quantity. So if suppose you're taking like 1 cup of oatmeal, like in your case, you're taking 1 cup of oatmeal for a 2-hour ride or a 3-hour ride. If you're taking 1 cup, maybe you would have to take 2 cups or 1.5 cups maybe. Even that you will have to trial and experiment on, because maybe the second cup you would find it too uncomfortable to ride on a second cup of oat. Maybe 1.5 cups would be fine. So you'll have to again try and experiment on that. And what I do is just increase the quantity a bit.
Okay. So rule of thumb, slightly more than what you would do for your 60 to 90 or 2-hour ride is what you should consider for your endurance.
Even longer events.
Events. Okay. How about during the ride? What would be your suggestion in terms of the consumption during the ride for an EC as well as a 2-hour ride as well as any endurance events?
Yeah. So during an easy ride, if it's up to 2 hours, it's not necessary that you take food. I mean, any extra food. But hydration, of course, is very important. And that being, you need water and you need electrolytes. So hydration is very important. But food is not that important during an easy 2 hour ride. And about 2 hours, you'll have to take in some form of carbohydrate and a bit of protein if possible. So my go-to choice is a energy bar. So I would maybe consume like one energy bar per hour for a like a 4 hour 5 hour endurance ride. I would take one energy bar per hour.
Not everyone would actually have energy bars with them, and not everyone is a big fan of energy bars. I mean, there's always that apprehension whether is it healthy for you. What other options would you suggest?
Again, the most basic thing is like you need to have some food, and that being carbohydrates and maybe a bit of sugars. So some of my friends actually take breads. They make some sandwich, like maybe peanut butter sandwich again, and maybe chapatis with egg rolls.
Right.
So some people prefer such sort of things that rather than some energy bar or chocolates.
Bananas, I guess bananas during the ride might also be a good
Bananas
option.
would help, but it won't give you the sufficient energy for a long ride.
Right.
So it would give maybe usually bananas digest within 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So that's the duration of energy that you can expect from a banana.
What about if you don't have these natural sources of carbs or natural sources of energy? What else would you suggest?
Other than natural sources, you can take chocolates. That's the basic thing. You can buy it from any store.
Right.
So what I do is always I don't have a stock of energy bar every day. Maybe I would forget to buy, or maybe I would go out of stock. So once in a while, what I do is in the morning of the ride, maybe after starting the ride, maybe I go to a bakery and I buy chocolates. So again my rule of thumb is one chocolate per hour. So if it's a 4 hour ride, I keep 4 chocolates with me. So that's what I do. And other than chocolates, you can even have energy gels, but that's more required only during high intensity rides. So not for endurance type events, like where you need energy, a sustained amount of energy for a long period of time, and a slowly releasable energy.
I mean, we'll talk about high intensity rides in a bit. But something that struck me when you said one per hour is very often, and I've gone through this myself as well. We would think that we have the energy that we need to complete the ride, but then after a point, we sort of reach the stage where you're totally empty, like you bonk.
Yeah.
And I think it's one great piece of advice that we can give to everyone is that if just stick with the rule of thumb. Even if you feel that you have the energy what it takes to complete the ride,
yes, of
just
course.
make sure that you keep consuming something every hour to keep you going, because you never know until it's too late.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So better be safe than sorry.
Exactly. Otherwise your friends might just go and then you get dropped. So that's the worst
It's
situation.
not a good feeling to get dropped.
It is not. I get it. People will have this apprehension whether energy gels are safe enough. What's your take on it?
Actually, there are. If it's from a reputable brand, I would have no hesitation to take it or suggest it to someone, because they do a lot of tests, and they are pretty much active in sports and even in supporting athletes.
They spend a lot of effort on research and development. So
Yes.
I mean, it's mostly if it's a reputable brand, it's something that wouldn't cost big.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, even if it costs some trouble to someone, they would be held accountable, because they've been in the market for quite some while. So I don't think they would use some harmful substances. So.
But I think the thing to note here is that anything that you take, in excess of what is ideal would anyway cause issues,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So
that even if it's a natural substance, if it's in excess, it would do more harm than good.
yeah, that's probably a good thought there. I've got a very interesting question for you, Salvin. So during the brevets that I ride, I've seen people having a very heavy meal for lunch, say a biryani or parathas and butter chicken. So they're quite heavy, and we were talking about the importance of having light food throughout the ride. Now, how will this affect the entire ride?
Yeah, the problem with a heavy meal is, like I said before, a lot of your blood goes towards your digestive system. So again, it's practically impossible to ride as efficient as you would with a lighter tummy.
That's a lot of information already, but now we have completed a ride. So what do we do after the ride?
So the basic thing immediately after ride is recovery. You should think about recovery. All your thoughts and actions should go towards recovery, or else it's going to affect your next ride. So if you can have a protein drink immediately after ride, like 45 minutes is the window that everyone recommends. Immediately after workout, whether it's a gym workout or even a hard ride, within 45 minutes of the ride, if you can take a protein drink, it's very good. What I would do is, like, maybe I would already have prepared a protein drink before my ride, and I would just keep it in the refrigerator, and immediately after ride I have a protein drink.
I think that's a very smart move, which I usually don't, foresee to that level. So I come back home and then scramble to find something, to eat. So that's what I usually do.
And we would be too lazy immediately after ride. We would be too lazy to go and make something.
Exactly. So apart from protein drinks, what other alternatives would people have? I'm aware that there are certain products that are available in the markets. So let's talk about certain products, some of those products, and also what are the natural options that people would have.
Yeah. So there are certain recovery drinks available that you can take. Like Fasten Up has their recovery tablets, so you can take that. Or else the recovery is the normal recovery process. Like you can hydrate well and have some electrolytes. Again, that's a artificial thing, but again it's necessary, because cycling is not a normal process. It's not like walking or maybe jogging. It takes you to another level. It makes our bodies much more efficient. It almost turns our bodies like into a machine.
What other natural sources of protein or recovery nutrition is available? Can you elaborate a little bit more on what is the quantity that we should have depending on the type of rides?
Yeah, so basically protein, you can have protein from anything. Everything has protein. Even if you take rice, wheat, anything, everything has protein. But the amount of protein varies between the foods. So whey protein is the thing that contains the maximum amount of protein. It's derived from milk. So if you have lactose intolerance or something like that, you can have meats. And if you're a vegetarian, there's a lot of plant protein alternatives. So you can have that. Or
Eggs contain
egg whites. Egg whites are a very good source, like around 3 to 4 grams per egg white. And the problem with yolk is it contains a bit of fats and cholesterol, but bigger point of concern is the amount of calories that you get from egg yolk. So that's why I usually avoid egg yolk. So you can have egg whites, it's very good. And other natural sources like vegetarian sources are plant sprouts. Sprouts, you can have a lot of sprouts.
lentils and sprouts, I guess, would be a really good option for the vegetarian folks.
Really good option. Yeah. So when it comes to the quantity of protein that you need to consume, it's generally 1.5 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight that you need to take. Any athlete. So suppose a person is like 60 kilograms, then they should take like minimum. Suppose a person is 60 kilograms, they should take a minimum of 90 grams of protein per day. So that's 1.5. And the upper limit, like if you're very serious into cycling or any sport, it's up to 2 grams, 2 or even 2.2 in some cases. So that means a lot of protein.
Right.
Yeah. So the importance of protein in our diets is the protein is what builds you, what builds your muscle, your tissues, everything in order for you to build and develop and improve, you need protein. Proteins are the basic building blocks of muscles.
Okay. This is a question that most of the serious cyclists and anyone who is considering cycling as a serious means of exercise would have is there any other dietary considerations that we need to take apart from when we are riding or apart from when we are in recovery throughout the day? Is there anything else that we need to keep in mind about our diets?
Yeah, throughout the day, any cyclist or any athlete should hydrate themselves well. So keep on hydrating. That's one choice. Then, in case you are a bit dehydrated, it's good to have a bit of electrolytes like sodium. The property of sodium is water retention. So it tends to retain water. So if you're a bit depleted in sodium, you would retain less water, which means dehydration. So try to keep hydrated, and if you're dehydrated, add a bit sodium to your diet, or you can have electrolytes like Fasten Up or any other alternative to electrolytes. Then another thing that you could have once in a while, like maybe once in 2 months or 3 months, you can have a course of multivitamins. Okay. You can have like maybe 10 days in a row, you can have multivitamins.
Oh, that's a lot of information, Solvin, that you have shared with us so far. I hope this is going to be useful for you, people who are watching. And I guess until next time when we'll come up with a new video, I guess it's time to say bye. Any last thoughts that you want to share?
Yeah, of course. Train insane or remain the same.
All right. On that note, it's a bye to everyone.